there in Bentland. My name is Gary Solomon. I'm your host today on the Laidback Bike Report. We hope to have a really good, interesting show for you today. We have a couple of very special guests that I'll introduce shortly. We usually have a little panel to help me out, but for one reason or another, illness, prior commitments, I'm not sure exactly why, they all couldn't be with me today, so I will be going solo. A guy who usually rides a tandem, but I'm going to be going solo today. So let me tell you a little bit about our broadcast. We broadcast the first Sunday of every month at 2 o'clock Eastern time. And this will be available, if you're not watching live right now, you'll be able to watch on YouTube later on. It will be archived there, and you'll be able to see it at your leisure. The format of the Hangout, we kind of break it generally into 5 sections. We have the special guest section first, where we'll have a presentation or a talk, or perhaps an interview with our special guest. Then we'll have a panel discussion, which clearly is not going to be happening today, so we'll just probably move on past that. We have news of the month. We'll see how that goes. We'll have an open question and answer period from you, the audience. And then we'll talk about the Google Plus Recumbent bike rider community business. We'll take care of a little business at the end for our community. So if you'd like to participate by asking questions or making comments, we would love to see what you have to say, and we'd like to include it in the broadcast. You can do that if you're watching on YouTube. You can just make a comment there on YouTube. If you're watching from Google Plus, make a comment on the event page. That's where you're probably watching now. Or if you happen to be on Twitter, you can use the hashtag Bent HOA. Bent Hangout on Air is what that stands for. Bent HOA. And we'll be able to see hopefully those comments and respond to them during the broadcast. So without further ado, I won't have to introduce any panelists today. We'll skip over that part. And I would like to introduce our special guests today. We have Matt Tim and Paul Carasoza from Utah Trikes in Payson, Utah. Utah Trikes is one of, if not the largest trike dealer in the country. The guys will probably be able to correct me or tell me about that. Matt and Paul are on the Trike Show, what's called the Trike Show, which they produce and put on YouTube, I say about once a week. I've seen them even a little bit more often about that. We'll talk about how often that's on there. Very popular. All the people I talk to that have trikes, and many who don't or just into recumbents, enjoy watching their show. They have a nice little patter between the two of them, and people seem to enjoy that. So let's talk about Utah Trikes a little bit. I'll get to my questions. But first, Matt and Paul, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Gary. Hey, Gary.
So I wanted to know a little bit about your backgrounds. I know you both work for Utah Trikes now. I don't know exactly what you guys did before. Tell me what you did before and what you do at Utah Trikes now, if you would.
You should go first. I'll go first. Okay. Well, I actually, from a very young age, had just a technical mind. Was, into building and repairing things. My brothers were into cars and all that. The easiest thing for me to work on was bikes. So that's what I had access to. That's what I'd take apart and put back together. So in high school, my mom said, this summer you should go out and get a job. When I was 16, I had just gotten a, full suspension mountain bike and rode it everywhere. So I rode a city over, walked into the shop when it was in its location in Spanish Fork, and basically walked right up to Ashley and said, hey, do you need any help, or do you need an employee or anything? And he and the other gentleman there kind of peeked outside at my bike and looked back at me, the 16-year-old with shaggy hair, and they said, you know what, you're riding a pretty nice bike, so you probably know something about bicycles, so yeah, sure, come on back. And so I pretty much started when I was 16 or 17, and started out as a mechanic, and was taught by Ashley and the other senior mechanic there, and pretty much been here ever since. Moved up through the assembly and shipping and that sort of thing, and do a lot of the sales and customer service and support and stuff like that now.
Very nice. And Paul?
Well, I was born in California up until I was about 13 when my dad joined the military. I lived in California, and then we moved to Germany, and then Georgia, and then back to California, and then back to Georgia. And at that time, I was about 18, and I got a job at a restaurant and worked my way up until I became a trainer and got the opportunity to come and open Longhorn Steakhouses in Utah. And then I fell in love with Utah, and they wanted me to move back to Georgia. And I was like, you know what? I think I found home. I think I'm going to stay. And, you know, ever since then, I've, you know, done a couple sales positions. Door-to-door is what I was doing before this. And then I found Utah Trikes. Actually, I think it was KSL. And ever since then, I mean, these guys are awesome. I've become more a part of, you know, the Recumbent community, and just, you know, how advantageous they can be to a lot of people and how fun they are. So, yeah, that's me in a nutshell.
That's great. So it sounds like from what you've told me that neither one of you really rode trikes before you got to Utah Trikes. Was that your first introduction to trikes?
Yeah, I mean, I was only 16 when I started working for the shop, but I knew I didn't want to work in fast food, but I've never had seen them before or anything like that. I just knew that it was some form of bicycle. So that was my first introduction, and you know, since then, just getting enjoyment out of them and then seeing the benefits as well is, you know, what's kind of kept me around, I suppose, and love of bicycles in general and things mechanical, you know. So
I had never been exposed much to, you know, recumbent trikes prior to working here, but I did have a couple of experiences, and you know what? Every time I was like, what is that thing, and where can I get one? You know, but being a 15, 16-year-old kid, you know, money is sort of an issue.
It's cool, but it's not something you're going to get to anytime soon, right?
Exactly. So now I don't need to necessarily buy one. I kind of
yeah.
Yeah.
It's available to you, you might say.
Certainly, and boy, do I enjoy them.
Okay. Let's, if we can, move along to the videos. One of the more interesting thing I think that you guys do. Can we talk about that? Let's, whose idea was that to start out with?
The Trike Show originated 5-6 years ago, probably. It was just intended to be a series of, you know, informative videos to get people familiar with trikes, because you see one, and again, like Paul mentioned, what the heck is that thing? How does it work? This, that, and the other. So, you know, through transitions of employees and things, and you know, kind of what we had going on at the time, the Trike Show kind of fizzled out and disappeared. And so now we've been able to kind of readdress the video thing. YouTube is fantastic with Google Plus and Facebook. You know, all the marketing you can do with it. So we just decided to bring it back, and we are trying to release, you know, one every day, at least one product video every day.
Wow.
And the real intention is just to familiarize people with the products that are out there, you know, give people an idea, kind of a baseline to, you know, come to us and say, okay, I think I know what I want. Here, let's, you know, trim the fat and figure out exactly what I'll use and what I'll need. So.
Right. Okay. So let's talk about the production of these videos themselves. Typically, from my experience, you're talking 3 to 5 minute kind of videos. Is that about what you're talking? So how long does it take to actually produce the videos? 3 to 5 minutes, probably. Is that? Do you wing it every time, or is there a lot of production going into it? What goes on?
So many different angles and.
Yeah, what we've ended up doing is attaching several different cameras so we can make it a little more interesting, and we can cut down on the production time. A 3 to 5 minute video probably takes us 15 to shoot or so, you know, and then you trim out the rest. That's, yeah, the typical video. And then we have most of the smaller product videos, we kind of just wing it. And then, you know, the more production ones, like the KMX tandem video, for example, and the 559 and like the EcoTab videos, you know, those were a little more, we had an idea of what we wanted to address in those videos.
Still took about an hour.
Yeah, and those ones do, I mean, they end up even taking a little bit longer, just because we want to have, you know, a good cinematic and element to it, and we want them to be entertaining.
It shows, guys. I think from what I've seen, it really shows. Now, so and then someone takes them and edits them, right? So that's going to take a little time too. So who does all that stuff? Do you guys don't hire people to do that? It's people in the shop that do that.
Ashley does that, actually. He does most of the editing between him and Sterling. You know, and the actual editing, 3 to 5 minute videos, probably 45 minutes to an hour maybe in editing time. So really the total production time is more like an hour and a half.
People don't always appreciate it. I've done some video editing myself. It does take it's very tedious, takes a lot of work to make a real short video that looks good. And the angles, the camera angles that you guys show, it does make a difference. It really does add interest. And I noticed that too watching them. You guys do a great job there. So any memorization of lines? You guys memorize lines? You said you wing some of them. No, you're not capable of memorizing lines, or?
I don't know. I mean,
I'd say that's my excuse.
I kind of take it from a standpoint of I'm talking to a customer about this. You know, how would I transfer this information? You know, if somebody was asking me a specific question about this trike, so I just kind of pull it from in there. You know, I've been doing it long enough where I've answered about every question there is. So.
And you're knowledgeable enough too, both of you. You're knowledgeable about your products and what it takes, the individual things that you sell, and that shows too. I think so. I gotcha. So I wanted to ask what your favorite video that you've done so far is for both of you. What do you think? What's your favorite one?
I know what my favorite one is.
Come on.
Yeah, well, I don't want you to tell me about Paul's. Tell me about yours.
I don't want it to be the same. So
well, somebody go first, and someone will be penalized then, I guess.
my favorite would have to be, and I'm gonna cheat and pick 3, is the K90 series of videos. So we've got the hunting for the K90 out by Utah Lake. That was a ton of fun to shoot, and then we've got the full speed Camex Annihilator crash, and then the slow motion Annihilator crash. You know, the whole that experience was just really, really entertaining for me. So
super. All right, Paul, what about you? Were those yours?
I like the 559 video. You know, it's there's a little piece in there, and I hope people notice it, but we say 559 3 times, and I can't help but laugh every time I watch it.
Awesome. All right, let's see. A couple more questions on the videos, and we'll move along here. When Paul came down the slide in the children's playground, did you have to be talked into that, or was that your own idea? Was it scary, Paul?
It was suggested, but I was more than happy to oblige.
I got you. I figured that was. Now, let's talk about your toboggan hat and hats apparently that you guys talked about a little bit. What's the idea behind that? And is it true that you actually make those? What's the deal with that?
You know what? During the winter, it was sort of out of necessity, and then it started to get hotter, and I hadn't cut my hair for 4 months, so it was more like, I need this beanie so I don't have to get a haircut, and then it got too hot. So I cut my hair, but now I wear them because it's like a hug for my head. But
absolutely. And do you have to wear a special helmet or anything to get over that when you're riding?
You know what? I have a big head, so the helmets are generally able to accommodate the beanie. So
okay. And so when you're using the loud horn on the trails and scaring old ladies and stuff, it's not even more scary when you're wearing the toboggan hat, you don't think?
You know what? I've frightened a couple people.
Have you? Okay. Really good. Okay. Let's go to the trikes themselves. Let's talk about the trikes themselves. Tell me why it is you think people should ride a trike in general.
The cool thing about a trike is really that anybody can jump on and ride it. Any skill level, even people with disabilities and stuff like that, There's been several cases where I've had people come into the shop and, for one reason or another, haven't been able to ride a bicycle, and seeing them be able to get on the trike and have that freedom and everything like that is just really, really cool. So
for me, I mean, the seat on an upright bicycle is the most uncomfortable thing I can experience on a day-to-day basis. being able to get that sort of exercise, have, more fun and be comfortable, I mean, it's awesome for me.
Right, right. Let's talk about safety a little bit, because there's issues around safety, and you hear people talk about that with trikes. And I guess what I've heard people talk about is the very low level of a trike. And I've heard people say, well, if you're not the people that ride trails, but if you're out in traffic, for instance, how is it that you're seen well by traffic? Are you more invisible, more likely to get hit, and that kind of thing? So. And there are other aspects of trike safety where I think it's obvious that they excel. So can you talk a little bit about trike safety for us?
Yeah. Do you want me to build this one too?
Come on.
All right. Well, I do tend to downplay the severity of it a little bit, just because for the most part, people that call me with a big concern about it, I think do blow it a little out of proportion. You have certain situations where a trike is worse, and you have certain situations where a trike is better. And of course, there are several different steps you can take to avoid those situations. So I've always been a really big advocate of ride like you're invisible. No matter whether the cars are in front of you, behind you, to the left, to the right, you are invisible. You don't exist to anybody. And, taking that responsibility off of other drivers to see you, really helps with your survival, I think. So, but as far as, visibility and stuff like that, they are low, but they are very, to the eye, they're wide. So I have more, people give me way more room on my trike than on anything else, just because they see it as being much, much wider. The things places where they may be worse is if you've got cars parked along the side of the road and, traffic coming out from a side street. And again, that's where you have to be defensive and really paying attention to what's going on around you.
And kind of assume something like that could happen. Just assume that car's going to come out of there and ride that way.
Yeah, and I ride motorcycles and stuff like that, so I'm used to that sort of thing. And even still on a larger machine that makes more noise and has a big bright headlight, more people pull out in front of me on my motorcycle than on the trike. And again, I do feel like it is because it's got that wow factor as to what the heck is that thing. It's
something unusual that people aren't used to seeing on the road. So instead of like fading into the background or peripheral vision, perhaps it draws their attention a little bit more. And I guess that's to that advantage, isn't it? So,
definitely.
All right. Let's my next questions have to do with some of the demographics of the folks that you talk to and sell trikes to. So typically, I guess what I see on social media and what I see out there are older folks like myself that are on trikes. But I know there's some pretty slick, hot trikes that are fast and can do some really and can really move along. And I know maybe some young people are not that older people aren't into that too. Might be interested in that kind of thing too. So what sort of age groups do you tend to talk to? Do you sell mostly to?
I mean, it's on a daily basis. I'll talk to everybody from 18 up to 70. I mean, I can't say there's really there is a solid demographic, but on a daily basis, I mean, every age group is expressing interest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is definitely 55 to 65% are in that over 50 age range, and then from 25 to 40, is probably accounts for about 20, and then that last percentage, the smaller percentage is younger people.
Over the years that you guys worked, the last at least 3 or 4 years, say, have you noticed any trends along those lines? Have you seen more younger people interested or not?
I think more people in the 35 to 40 age range. Previously it's been mostly people over 50, looking for something stable and easy to ride and stuff like that. And I think as they're becoming more commonplace and they're getting customized, and you see really fast, lightweight ones and stuff, as technology progresses in that aspect, they are going to be drawing more interest from younger people, and I think it's been showing up lately. I don't think that the over 50 community will ever account for less than 50% of the total sales or anything like that, but the younger market is definitely starting to expand.
Interesting. All right, we touched briefly a little bit ago about the performance of trikes and how fast can they go and that type of thing. Let's, if you can't, you guys may know a little bit about this. So how fast can a trike get?
Well, I mean,
yeah, well, and that's a funny question too, because I get a lot of people that go, well, how fast is this trike? And I go, well, how fast can you pedal it?
Of course,
so
the engine has a lot to do with it, no matter what sort of bike or trike you're on, no doubt about it. But let's say a really fit biker that tends to ride a road bike that rides really fast and wants to try a trike. What would you recommend for him or her to do, to buy, and what do you think they could do?
Yeah, I mean, I think as somebody who's transitioning from cycling, you know, and they want something high performance, and they're not necessarily worried about getting suspension at any point or anything like that, you know, I'll generally kind of point them towards the Cat Trike Expedition 700. Also, the Ice VTX is great. You know, trikes along those lines.
don't leave out the Venom.
Well, and the Venom too. The Venom is, yeah, the KMX Venom. I mean, that's a great, you know, inexpensive option to get into something that's relatively fast, you know. So the aluminum frame and all that. I'd say Paul has got a really good grasp of, you know, he's great at seeing our whole line and really choosing a trike that fits the rider. But yeah, I mean, that tends to be kind of what we recommend, you know.
Okay.
So typically, I mean, how fast is a fit individual?
I mean, I don't claim to be a really fit cyclist, but there was a time when I would ride about 250 miles a week. And, you know, originally when I was riding an upright bike, I would do about 18, 19 miles an hour, and then transition to the trike. And then when I got in really good shape, I could average about 22, 23.
Yeah.
But I know there are guys out there that can do 25, 26 pretty easy.
Then you look at Outrider, and I mean,
he's electric.
Well, I'm
Those
saying,
are electric.
I mean,
Electric assist is not what we're talking about, but yeah, that's
you know, but I'm saying
that's respectable, certainly.
Yeah.
Certainly, that's respectable.
Yeah. I haven't found that there's any situation. I mean, if you look at a ride from start to finish, you know, 60, 70 miles, the average on the trike, I would anticipate, or I have personally seen in my own rides, that the trike is about 2 miles an hour faster. So, you know, even though they are they're so slow for climbing, and that's just, trikes are just that, well, recumbents in general are just that way, and that's another advantage to the trike, is that you don't tip over if you go slow.
Right.
But over an average, you know, a long enough ride with the right number of hills, you know, or an average number of hills even, trikes are right there, right on par, if not a little faster in some cases.
Good enough. All right. So we've talked about the speedy trikes. Let's switch gears, if you'll allow me to use that phrase, and talk about touring a little bit. I assume that you sell a fair number of your trikes to people who do some serious touring. And I was wondering, we won't get into the specific bikes because we've talked about that a little bit. Do you have any stories about feedback from people that have purchased your trikes for touring, and maybe some of the places they've gone, interesting places they've gone, or stories about that?
Oh yeah, I've talked to a few people. You know, we've got a guy from Washington that rides all over the place, and he rides I think an HP Velo Scorpion. Well, he's probably got several trikes, as do most people who've caught the recumbent bug do. But yeah, he's done quite a few rides, and you know, some on the East Coast. There's just so many. We get a lot of people doing Ragbri, I'd say, is probably one of the biggest rides that we sell parts and stuff for, even trikes. You know, I'll get calls, you know, 3 months out, people wanting to buy a new trike for Ragbri.
Oh, you know, do you remember Mahmoud?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was going to take his fat tired trike and he was going to torque weight. I mean,
torque Kuwait?
Like, that's what his
I thought you said torque weight. I thought he was going to be pulling like a semi or something.
No, like
torque weight. Okay, yeah, that's interesting. Wow.
So I mean, they're everywhere.
Yeah, so that
So
was
the fat tires, so they would ride on top of the sand. Is that the idea?
Exactly.
yeah,
Wow.
that's
So,
crazy.
so that's got to be gratifying to you guys to hear back from some of your some of
Yeah,
your salesmen.
definitely. One guy, he actually he was a pilot down in Hawaii. He came up and came to the shop and ordered a Cat Trike 700, and he does several 100-mile rides a week. It's incredible.
Wow.
I'm very jealous. He goes all over Hawaii and has just these beautiful pictures all the time. So that's a lot of fun too. And I've done a couple tours myself as well. Actually, that the touring is really where the comfy, big, wide seats just, you just want to fall asleep in them.
Right. Right.
So they're great for that. Yeah.
All right. And then I guess the last, segment of your clientele would be maybe people who are just doing leisure riding, hopping on the trail, getting a little exercise and that type of thing. So I guess my question around that would have to do with, are those people the ones that demand most of your time and resources? The newbie kind of not the guy that's in Washington that's going, across country. You're probably not hearing that much from him except when he gets done. But what about the leisure riders? Do you hear from them a lot?
You know what? The people who are really trying to piece together a performance trike are who I hear from more often than not. The people who are going out and just pedaling around and having some fun. In my experience so far, I mean, I don't hear from them very often. It's every once in a while. Hey, I need a new tire. Great.
Yeah. As far as like people coming back and talking to us, I'd say the guys that are out touring and doing stuff like that, we do hear from them fairly regularly, because they're putting so many miles on their trikes. The people who are new and just getting into the market, we do get a lot of, we do take a lot of time with them just because there is a lot of information out there, and so many people are concerned, oh, well, I feel like I'm asking stupid questions. There is no such thing as a stupid question. No matter what you're asking, I mean, unless you're
that's very reassuring to me, Matt, because I'm asking you guys a lot of them, and I was worried that might be the case. Thanks.
No,
I get you. That's good. That's a good attitude to have because.
Well, yeah, and it can be daunting. There's a lot of information out there, So our website is nice in that we have enough information to convey, a lot of that to get people started. And then we're here to talk to people through setting up the trike that they need. So, but yeah, we do get a lot of people that are in that performance and touring kind of wanting that stuff. So I wouldn't say that one group really takes up more of our time than another.
I mean, that's exactly why the Trike Show was started.
Exactly. Yep.
Right. To help those folks out. Absolutely.
Exactly.
All right, let's talk about, I know you talked to me when we chatted briefly before about custom builds. And I wanted to ask you about specialty trikes. What do you guys do around specialty trikes? What kinds of trikes do you build custom and specialty?
Every kind.
Give me an idea.
They all have their little unique pieces and parts here and there. And obviously you've seen from our website, we try to take pictures of all of the trikes we build, no matter how extreme. But so we've kind of got things sectioned off in two different departments. We've got existing manufactured trikes that we're accessorizing and customizing with different colors of paint, custom wheels, stuff like that. And then we have the fabrication side of things downstairs, which is where somebody calls us and says, hey, all I have is this idea. Here is the idea that I want built. Will you guys make it? And that's where, between our machinist department and Ashley, he does a lot of the R&D these days, does all the design and stuff. So that's where the custom stuff really gets put together.
And trikes for the disabled, this falls into this category? And do you do a fair amount of those sorts of things?
For example, we carry the top end hand cycles. We carry a sun hand cycle as well, and the sun hand cycle we will actually take, and one of the most common modifications, say for somebody with a disability, is we'll actually make it so it's powered by your hands and your feet. You know, to really give people with spinal injuries and stuff like that, so they can get motion back into their legs. So that's pretty cool too.
We just custom built a tandem with that exact.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they have the hand cranks and the foot cranks in the front and back, as well as the push bar. So
yeah. So a lot of that stuff gets handled by the downstairs department, and again, you know, that's 95% of those parts are being fabricated from billet blocks of aluminum.
So I imagine that that's pretty gratifying too, the feedback you might get from those folks who become mobile and active, who ordinarily may not be able to. That's a really wonderful thing for those folks, yes?
Yeah, there's a group called Ride to Recovery that we've worked with for several years, and they've bought several tandems from us. So they go out with veterans who have, you know, maybe lost a limb or something like that, and so we've set them up with several tandems. And hearing back, you know, they went out and won this race here, won that race over there, and stuff like that is just fantastic. It's really, really cool.
That is a great thing that you guys do, I think. All right, I guess I want to ask one more question, looking into the future with your crystal ball. What do you see as the future of trikes? Where do you think, what modifications may be out there? What changes? What do you see as the future of trikes?
Well, you know, in my sort of fantasy land, everybody's on a trike. You know, we're out here saving the earth, getting healthier. I mean, you know, that's just sort of my that's what I dream about at night. What are you thinking, Matt?
You know, I see a lot of that as well. You know, as they become more commonplace and stuff like that, they will become more attainable for more people, and you know, more trikes in the recumbent market can do nothing but help the trike industry. So I see a lot of things going towards the electric side of things. You know, we have done a lot of electric conversions for years, still do. We've got a few different options there, but you know, the U.S. is behind Europe in a lot of cases by several years when it comes to the cycling industry, and that's really what's taken over there is the electric and hybrid bike market and stuff like that. So I think in the next 2 to 3 years you'll see a lot more of that. But and again, just as trikes grow and become more commonplace, and you know, more manufacturers, you know, come around and make different things, I just think it'll expand. You know, nothing too crazy as far as extreme new technology or anything like that. You know, new ways of implementing carbon fiber, I think, is going to become a little more commonplace. Yeah, mostly like electric and hybrid, and just them being seen more regularly and more commonly.
All right. Well, maybe we'll have you guys back on in a future show, and we'll see how you did with your predictions.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
And we'll see, you know, whether you embarrassed yourselves or whether you were prophetic. You know, we'll see how that goes. Okay, I guess last part of my questioning would, well, just another question or two, would have to back to the Trike Show. I want to know what's the future of the Trike Show? What do you guys have planned that you can tell us about? I don't want you to spill the beans on anything, you know, too secret, but.
Well,
I mean, there's just so many products, so many trikes. I mean,
our goal is to go through our entire catalog, and so every page on the website has a video for that product that explains how it works, what it does, why it's good for you, you know, that sort of thing. You know, as our company expands and gets bigger, you know, Paul and I will have more free time, and you know, we're hoping to do a little more production quality stuff, some you know, longer videos and stuff like that, you know, where we may even do interviews with other companies and stuff like that, and this sort of thing actually is
okay. Fantastic. Well, you can call me and I'll give you all the advice I can possibly muster to help you out on that. Confirm a rumor for me on Bent Rider Online last week. One of my posts, Brian Ball made a little post saying that he was going to be on one of the future Trike shows. Do you know about this? Oh, we can't talk about it.
I don't think it's a big secret. No. Yeah.
Well, not now. But,
yeah, not now. Thanks a lot, Brian. Yeah.
He actually said himself that he was going to
We're
do that.
not
So
surprised. Anyways, no, that's exactly what I'm talking about. You know, we're hoping to get out there and you know, we have done a lot, I think, for the trike industry as far as customization and you know, putting things out there and just kind of flooding the market with information. But we do want to, you know, get ourselves more into the far reaches of the recumbent industry, you know, and you know, try to bring things down to a more personal level and you know, that can do nothing but help everyone. So
I think so. Great. And just to finish up then, I remember we talked briefly before about, you were talking about maybe taking it on the road, maybe doing some shows or something on the road kind of thing.
Yeah, we're hoping to get out to more of those, you know, trike rides and stuff like that across the nation, and you know, the big rallies and stuff like that, and appear to those, because those are just a lot of fun. It'll be nice to meet, you know, our customers in the areas and stuff like that, because I mean, we've been shipping trikes for 10 years, and I've probably only met 10% of the customers, you know. Sure. So it'd be a lot of fun to go out and meet everybody and see the places they're riding and what it's like out there.
All right, that sounds great. Thanks for answering all my questions there, guys. That was fun. Now, speaking of getting out there and moving along, I thought maybe this would be a great time for us to take a little tour of Utah Trikes. What do you say? Is that a possibility?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So the boys are going to take the laptop here, hopefully not shut themselves down, or I'll be doing a lot of talking by myself. Yeah, we'll start a tour, and you guys just kind of tell us where you are and what we're looking at. And if I have a question, I'll just kind of jump in there with it. So.
Okay. So this is our office here. There's Ashley over there at his desk.
Oh, Ashley.
Kind of monitoring things. So this is where Paul and I hang out most, you know, on the phones and our computers. This is actually down in the basement. So let's go here. There's the back side of the shop. So we'll head to the front, and this is where we get into our machine shop. So we've got a couple big saws and a bunch of aluminum stock there for different parts. Let's see. We got some spare frames in our powder coat booth back that direction. Let's see here.
Yeah, if you get to a spot, yeah, kind of slow down a little bit and just kind of, that's great. Pull it away. That's great.
These are our welding tables. So this is where a lot of the fabrication and stuff gets done. We've got our welders there. And behind me right here is our jig for our KMX tandems. That's where those get all welded up. And you know, we started trying to keep our jigs around so that we can you know, make things all perfect all the time. And you know, that's made a huge difference. There's Paul snuck off here. But that's basically the machining area and everything like that. I'll actually show you the powder coat booth. It's pretty cool. Yeah.
Careful backing up now.
Yeah. So go in here, and you've got the booth there. So that's where the frame goes in and gets. And then our big huge oven and the dollies. There's the oven there.
Okay.
That's good. All right, now we're gonna head upstairs. Let's see here. Yeah. All right. So this is the main floor. So we've got all of our assembly areas here, where we get everything put together. Here's a Cat Trike 559 going together.
Nice color on that.
Yeah, their atomic orange has been the most popular. And I've got a bunch of those in stock right now, actually. So if anybody's looking for a 559, You know where to get them. Hold this. So here's one of our custom fat tags. This is a pretty cool project we're working on. Just about done.
Can you turn the, yeah, you need to kind of tilt down a little bit more for us. Yeah, that's super. That looks like a lot of fun.
So, yeah, what we've got here, so it's a sun frame, and then we're custom machining a set of wheel extension plates for it, which allows us to fit the 4-inch wheel in the back, and then we've got the 4-inch wheels up front. And then this one actually has a roll-off in the back.
Ah.
So, you know, that's a fantastic internally geared hub there. You got plenty of gearing with just the single up on front. So
how many trikes, Matt? How many trikes do you guys sell with those hubs with the roll-offs in them?
You know, I'd say we probably do about 2 roll-offs a month. They're a little expensive, you know. You've got the cost of the trike included there, but they are like you know, they are worth the money if you can justify the 14-speed setup. You know, they're fantastic. But
okay,
here's another 559 we've got going here, and this, I don't know that we've released it yet, but we've got a carbon fiber boom available now for the cat trikes. So we're pulling off about 40% of the weight with those. They're pretty neat.
So that's huge.
Yeah, yeah. And then there's the front of the shop there. We've got our shipping area back here. This is where all the orders get packaged and everything like that. So the front of the
shop is that interest to your showroom kind of thing? Oh, okay, I see now.
Yeah, kind of. We've actually got another building that we use for the showroom. So this location is mostly assembly. And then the trikes will actually get boxed up right here in our fully assembled shipping boxes. And then they go towards the back of the shop. We've got CAMX inventory there. Kind of our packaging area back here. And then they go
those aren't like Velo shells, those aren't Velomobile shells. What am I looking at back there? Those blue.
Yeah.
Do you guys do that? I didn't know that you did that.
Rotovelos, yeah.
Okay. Can you talk just for a minute about those, because we really haven't said anything about that?
Yeah. So the Rotovelos, you know, they're rotomolded plastic. So rather than, you know, fiberglass or carbon fiber like a lot of them are, they're really, really durable.
Mm-hmm.
So they're more of an everyday usable type of thing. You know, a lot of the Velomobiles are really, really fragile.
Yeah, yeah. Fiberglass and all. Oh yeah.
They're pretty tough. So you can use that every day. You know, great for weather protection, for riding in the cold. A little heavy, but
Velomobiles are anyways. Easy to get on and off your trike. Easy to put them on and off, I should say.
Oh, the shells?
Yeah.
So the shells actually, they stay bolted to the trike, so they're not.
Okay.
They're not. They have a proprietary frame on the underside.
I got it.
But yeah, that's pretty much the shop. At least the parts that aren't, you know, covered in inventory. But
that is super. That is super. Well, guys, I don't know how to thank you for sharing the time with us and really telling us all you know about the Trikes and the Trike Show and things going on in Payson, Utah there. So it's been a real pleasure getting to meet you and talking with you and sharing what you have with our watchers. So we'll be watching with interest to see where Utah Trikes goes and what you guys are doing next. And I honestly, I talked about a little bit earlier, I would hope to have you guys on again maybe next year or something, see what's up. We'll maybe talk about some other things.
Yeah.
Keep making those videos. I'd like to see how those progress too. We'll all be watching those as well.
Hey, thanks a lot, Gary. We're glad we could be on and share a little bit of our knowledge and everything like that.
That's all I can ask, I think. So, all right, guys, I'm going to finish up the show here with a few things with the community. You're welcome to stay, or if you got to go, that's fine too.
I've got to head out, but again, super glad we could be on the show. And anytime we're happy to talk with you. Just let us know.
It's a pleasure. You guys take care, and we'll see you around.
Bye, Gary.
Bye, Gary.
So long, Paul. So long, Matt. All right, folks. So we're going to finish up the hangout today with. I'm going to skip over some of the things we might have usually done since the interview went a little bit longer, but I'm going to jump on over to the contest, the pictures, video, and discussion posts of the month. I've got here. We've polled our community and selected some winners. You guys have. So let me take a quick look here, and we will. I'm going to read off the nominees and then quickly who it is that won. So let's start with the picture of the month. The nominees were Eric Cha with the carbon fiber mid racer, Marco Ropers, the Sinner with trailer, Christian Blessing, cruising speed with his Burley trailer, and the Nomad trailer, and then Jan Gadameyer, his Syrian DS. So the winner that you guys have chosen on the poll this month is Marco Ropers, the Sinner with the trailer. So congratulations, Marco, on that one. We have the video of the month that we've had some nominees on. The three nominees for the best video of the month were myself on the Beautiful Morning for a Ride, Marco Ropers again on Ride to Rodin, and Bill Barrere, A Good Day to Be in South Florida, the winner of the video of the month. Once again, Marco Ropers, the Ride to Rodin. So congratulations again on that, Marco. And lastly, on the discussion post of the month, we had four nominees. George Mills, the Real Light on a V-Rex discussion. Sam Sue, the Sinclair safety bike discussion. Zach Dyer posted on Where Can I Get One at a Good Price? We weren't real sure what one was, but I think we finally figured that out. And our friend Oliver Brandmüller, his report from Spezi, the bike show in Germany that was a couple of weeks ago. Wonderful, lot of pictures and lots of information from Spezi. And in fact, Oliver won the discussion of the month contest. So congratulations, Oliver. Oliver's right now on a tour with a friend through France. So he's been posting about that. So we hope you'll join our community if you haven't already, and see some of the posts and post yourself on the discussions. We've hit the 563 member mark. We appreciate all those that have joined and participate in the community locator map. You put your name on there. We can see where you are, so you can locate other members to perhaps ride with. So I wanted to thank everyone again for watching this month. We've had a really interesting show, I think, with the interview with Utah Trikes. We thank them for joining us and giving us a little tour of their facility, fascinating look at them. We'll be on next time. It will be the first Sunday of the month again. It'll be June 7th, I believe, will be the next Laid Back Bike Report. 2 o'clock Eastern Time again, 6 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time. So please let me know if you'd like to appear as a panelist or a guest. Sometimes I need a backup panelist. This is one of those times. So if you're interested, please let me know. We can see if we can work something out. And I guess that'll be it. So thank you very much again for joining us. Have a wonderful month. We'll see you next month on the show, and have a good day.